Welcome to Leader IS and Yashas tutorial, Navi Mumbai, Maharashtra. Myself, Professor Suhas Sargar. In this video book, these are the self-explanatory video for the subject Science and Technology Part 2, Standard 10, State Board of Maharashtra, sub chapter number 3rd, Life Process in Living Organism, Part 2. Dear listener, what you all going to listen? Reproduction, asexual and sexual reproduction and modern technology, reproductive health, population explosion, etc. Can you recall which are the important life processes in living organism? Which life processes are essential for production of energy required by body? Which are the main types of cell division? What are the differences? What is the role of chromosome in cell division? We have studied various life processes in previous classes. All those life processes, that is nutrition, respiration, excretion, sensation, and the response, control and coordination, etc., are essential to each living organism to remain alive. Beside these life processes, one or the more life process occur in living organism. It is reproduction. However, the reproduction does not help the organism to remain alive, but it helps to maintain the continuity of the species of that organism. Observe. Observe the pictures and tell the life process which you identified. Can you tell? See in picture the some life process. First, what do you mean by maintenance of species? Whether the new organism is genetically exactly similar to the earlier one that has produced it. Who determines whether the two organisms of species will be exactly similar or not? What is the relationship between the cell division and formation of new organism of same species by earlier existing organism? Formation of the new organism of same species by earlier existing organism is called as a reproduction. Reproduction is one of the various important characters of living organism. It is also one of the various reasons responsible for evolution of each species. In living organism, reproduction occurs mainly by two methods. The first, those two methods are sexual and asexual reproduction. First, asexual reproduction. The process of formation of new organism by an organism of same species without involvement of gamete is called as asexual reproduction. As this reproduction does not involve union of two different gametes, the new organism has exact genetic similarity with the reproducing organism. This is a uniparental reproduction, and it occurs by mitotic cell division. Absence of genetic recombination is a drawback, whereas a fast process is advance of these reproductive methods. Asexual reproduction in unicellular organism. See the picture of simple binary fission of amoeba. See the picture of transverse binary fission of paramecia. See the picture of longitudinal binary fission of euglena. Try this. First, binary fission. Activity 1. Take a conical flask and collect the water in it. Form a pond having a stagnant water and aquatic plant. Add some wheat grains and aquatic plants to it. Keep it for 3 to 4 days. So what? Wheat grains and plants will decompose early in the morning on 4th day. Take a glass slide and put a drop of hot water over it. Carefully put a cover slip on that drop and observe under the compound microscope. You will be able to see many paramecia performing the binary fission. Prokaryotes, bacteria, protist, amoeba, paramecia, euglena, etc., and eukaryotic cell organelle like mitochondria and chloroplast perform asexual reproduction by binary fission. In this process, the parent cell divides to form two similar daughter cells. Binary fission occurs either by mitosis or amitosis. Axis of fission or division is different in different protists. Example, amoeba divides in any plane due to lack of specific shape. Hence, it is called as a simple binary fission. Paramecia divides the transverse binary fission, whereas euglena by longitudinal binary fission. Binary fission is usually performed by living organisms during favorable conditions, that is, availability of abundant food material. Second, multiple fission. Asexual reproduction by simple fission is performed by amoeba and other similar protists. Amoeba stop the formation of pseudopodia and thereby movements. Whenever there is a lack of food or any other type of adverse condition, it became rounded and forms protective covering around plasma membrane. Such encysted amoeba or any other protist is called as a cyst. Many nuclei are formed by repeated nuclear division in the cyst. It is followed by the cytoplasmic division and thus many amoebulae are formed. They remain encysted till there are the adverse conditions. The cyst break open on arrival of favorable condition and many amoebulae are released. See in pictures the multiple fissions. Third, budding. Activity second. Bring the active dry yeast powder from market. Take the 50 ml of lukewarm water in a conical flask. Add 5 gram of the active dry yeast powder and 10 gram table sugar to that water and mix well in a mixture. Keep the flask in a warm place and after an hour take a drop of that mixture on a clean glass slide. Put a cover glass on that drop and observe it under compound microscope. In box, use your brain power. Does the parent cell exist after asexual reproduction fission? See in another picture the budding process. Now, you will see the yeast cell performing budding, that is a small but coming out of many parent cells. Asexual reproduction occurs by budding in yeast, a unicellular fungus. Yeast cell produces two daughter nuclei by mitotic division so as to reproduce by budding. This yeast cell is called as a parent cell. A small bulge appears on surface of parent cell. This bulge is actually a bud. One of the two daughter nuclei enters this bud. After sufficient growth, the buds separate from the parent cell and start to live independently as a daughter yeast cell. B. Asexual reproduction in multicellular organism. A fragmentation. This type of the asexual reproduction occurs in multicellular organism. In this type of the reproduction, the body of the parent organism breaks up into many fragments and each fragment start to live as an independent new organism. This type of the reproduction occurs in algae like Spirogyra and sponges like Cycon. Whenever there is a plenty of water and nutrients are available to Spirogyra, its a filament grows up very fast and break up into many small fragments. Each fragment start to live independently as a new Spirogyra fiber. If the body of the cycon breaks up accidentally into many fragments, each fragment develops into new cycon. See the picture of fragmentation. See also the picture of regeneration. Now, second, regeneration. You may know that the wall lizard breaks up and discards some parts of its tail in emergency. Discarded, the part is regenerated after a period. This is an example of limited regeneration. However, under certain situations, an animal planaria breaks up its body into two parts, and thereafter each part regenerates remaining part of the body, and thus two new planaria are formed. This is called as regeneration. Now next, budding. In case of the hydra, under favorable condition at a specific parts of its body, an outgrowth is formed by repeated division of regenerative cells of body wall. The outgrowth is called as a bud. The bud grows up progressively and finally forms a small hydra. Dermal layers and digestive cavity of the budding hydra are in a continuity with those of the parent hydra. Parent hydra supplies nutrition to the budding hydra. Budding hydra separate from parent hydra and start to lead an independent life when it grows up and becomes able to lead an independent life. See the picture of budding. Also, see the picture of vegetative reproduction. Now, fourth, vegetative propagation. Reproduction in a plant with the help of the vegetative parts like roots, stem, leaf, and buds is called as a vegetative reproduction. Vegetative propagation in potatoes is performed preform with the help of the eyes present on the tuber, whereas in biophyllum it is performed with the help of the birds present on leaf margin. In case of the plants like sugarcane and grasses, vegetative propagation occurs with the help of the birds present on nodes. The plant like carrot and radish perform vegetative propagation with the help of the roots. 5. Spore formation. Try this. Take a piece of wet bread or bhakri and keep it in a humid place. Fungus will grow on it within 2-3 days. Observe the fungus under compound microscope and grow its diagram. Fungi like mucor have filamentous body. They have sporangia. Once the spore are formed, sporangia burst and spores are released. Spore germinate in moist and warm place and new fungal colony is formed. Spore formation. See the pictures. Now, sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction always occurs with the help of the two germ cells. Female gametes and male gametes are those two germ cells. Two main processes occur in the sexual reproduction. First, gamete formation. Gametes are formed by the meiosis. In meiosis, the chromosome number is reduced to half. Hence, the haploid gametes are formed. Dear listeners, these are the self-explanatory video book from Leader IS and Yashas Institute, Navi Mumbai, Maharashtra. Myself, Professor Suhas Sargar. These videos are for the self-study of a student. Fertilization. A diploid zygote is formed in this process by union of haploid male and female gamete. A zygote divides by mitosis and embryo is formed. The embryo develops to form new individual. Two parents, that is male parents and female parents, are involved in this type of reproduction. Fusion of male gametes of male parent and the female gamete of the female parent occurs. Due to this, new individual always has a recombinant gene of both the parents. Hence, the new individual shows similarities with the parents for some character and has some characters different than both parents. Diversity in living organism occurs due to genetic variation. Genetic variation helps the organism to adjust with the changing environment and thereby to maintain their existence. Due to this, the plants and animals can save themselves for being extinct. What would happen if the male and female gametes had been diploid? What would have been happen if any of the cells in nature had not been divided by meiosis? First, sexual reproduction in a plant. The flowers is a structural unit of sexual reproduction in plant. It consists of four floral whorls as a calyx, corolla, androecium, and gynoecium, arranged in a sequence from outside to inside. Androecium and gynoeciums are called essential whorls because they perform the function of reproduction, whereas the calyx and corolla are called as accessory whorls. Because they are responsible for protection of inner whorls, the members of calyx are called as a sepals and they are green colored. Members of the corolla are called as a petal and they are seriously colored. Parts of flower. Papaya flower. A flower is called as a bisexual if both the whorls, that is androecium and gynoecium, are present in the same flower, that is example hibiscus. A flower is called as a unisexual if any one of the above mentioned two whorls is present in the flower. If only androecium is present, it is a male flower. And if only gynoecium is present, the flower is a female flower. Example papaya. Many flowers have the stalk of support called as sessile, called as many flowers have the stalk of support called as a pedicel, and such flowers are called as a pedicellate, whereas the flowers without the stalk is called as a sessile. Androecium is a male whorl and its members are called as a stamen. Gynoecium is a female whorl and its membranes are called as a carpels. Members of gynoeciums are called as a carpels. These are these may be separate or united. Ovary is present at the basal end of each carpel. A hollow style comes up from the ovary. Stigma are present at the tip of the style. Ovary contains one or many ovules. Embryo sac are formed in each ovule by meiosis. Each embryo sac consists of haploid egg cell and two haploid polar nuclei. Pollen grains from an anther are transformed to the stigma and this is called as a pollination. Pollination occurs with the help of abiotic agent. wind, water, and biotic agent, that is, insect and other animal. Stigma becomes sticky during pollination. Pollen germinates when they fall upon such sticky stigma, that is, long pollen tube, and two male gametes are formed. The pollen tube carries the male gamete. Pollen tube reaches the embryo sac via style. Tip of the pollen tube bursts and two male gametes are released in embryo sac. One male gamete unites with the egg cell to form the zygote. This is a fertilization. Second male gamete unites with the two polar nuclei and endosperm is formed. As two nuclei participate in this process, it is called as a double fertilization. See the pictures of double fertilization in angiosperm. In box, do you know when the pollination involves only one flower and the two flowers born on same plant, it is called as self-pollination. Whereas if it involves two flowers born on the two plants of same species, it is a cross-pollination. While discovering the new high-yielding and resistant varieties of plant, scientists bring about the pollination with the help of the brush. Make an video album of pollination and show it in a glass. See the picture of seed germination. Take a suitable glass vessel like conical flask or beaker. Add some garden soil in it and sow some pulse grain in it and in such a way that you can observe them through glass. Water it every day and record the changes. Ovule develops into seed and ovary into fruits after fertilization. Seed falls upon the ground when fruits breaks up and they germinate in the soil under favorable condition. Zygote develops at the cost of the food stored in the endosperm of seed and thus the new plantlets is formed. This is called as a seed germination. B. Sexual reproduction in human being. Which different hormones control the functions of human reproductive system through chemical coordination? Second, which hormones are responsible for changes in human body occurring during onset of sexual maturity? Third, why has the government of India enacted the law to fix the minimum age of marriage as 18 in girls and 21 in boys? We have studied in the chapters of heredity and variation that men have XY chromosome and women have XX sex chromosome. Reproductive system with specific organs develop in the body of men and women due to these sex chromosome only. X chromosome is present in the man and woman, whereas the Y chromosome is present in the man only. Now we shall study the structure and functions of human reproductive system. Human male reproductive system. See the pictures of male reproductive system in human. Now, male reproductive system of the human consists of the testes, various ducts, and glands. These are present in the scrotum outside the abdominal cavity. The testes contain the numerous seminiferous tubules, germinal epithelium present in the tubules, divide by the meiosis to produce the sperm. Those sperms are sent forward through various tubules. Sequence of those tubules is as rete testes, vasa efferens, epididymis, vasa deferens, ejaculatory duct, and urinogenital duct. As the sperms are pushed forward from one duct to the next, they become mature and able to fertilize the ovum. Seminal vesicle secrete their secretion in ejaculatory duct, whereas the prostate gland and Cowper's gland secrete their secretion in urinogenital duct. Semen is a form of the sperm and secretion of all these glands. Semen is ejaculated out through penis. All the organs of male reproductive system are paired except urinogenital duct, penis, and scrotum. In Bach, surprising fact, the length of each epididymis is about 6 meters. Length of the sperm is about 60 micrometers. Such a small sperm has to cross the distance of approximately 6.5 meters while passing out of the male reproductive system. Sperm needs a large amount of energy. For this purpose, the fructose is present in the semen. Seminal vesicle secrete their secretory in ejaculatory duct, whereas the prostate glands and Cowper's gland secrete their secretion in urinogenital duct. Semen is a form of the sperm and secretion of all these glands. Semen is ejaculated out through penis. All the organs of the male reproductive system are paired except urinogenital duct, penis, and scrotum. Human female reproductive system. All organs of female reproductive system are in abdominal cavity. It includes the pair of ovaries, a pair of oviduct, single uterus, and the vagina. Besides, a pair of bulbourethral gland is also present. Generally, every month, an ovum is released in abdominal cavity, alternately from each ovary. Free in the oviduct is funnel-like. An opening is present at the center of it. Oocyte enters the oviduct through that opening. Cilia are the present on inner surface of the oviduct. These cilia push the oocyte towards uterus. The gamete formation. Both gametes, that is sperm and ovum, are formed by meiosis. The sperms are produced in testes of men from beginning of the maturation, puberty till death. However, in case of women, at the time of birth, there are the 2 to 4 million immature oocytes in the ovary of the female fetus. An oocyte matures and is released from ovary every month from the beginning of maturity up to an age of menopause, approximately 45 years of age. Menopause is the stoppage of functioning of the female reproductive system. At the age of about 45 to 50 years, secretion of the hormones controlling the functioning of the female reproductive system either stop or becomes irregular, and this causes the menopause. Fertilization. Formation of the zygote by union of the sperm and ovum is called the fertilization. Fertilization is instead of internal in human. Semen is ejaculated in vagina during copulation. Sperm in those few million sperm fertilize the only ovum present in the oviduct. From the age of puberty up to the menopause, from 10 to 17 years of age up to 45 to 50 years, an ovum is released every month from the ovary. That is, out of the 2 to 4 million ova, approximately only 400 oocytes are released up to the age of menopause. Remaining oocytes undergo the degeneration. See the pictures of fertilization. In box, oocyte released from ovaries during last few months nearing the age of menopause are 40 to 50 years old. Their ability of division has been diminished till now. Due to this, they cannot complete meiotic division properly. If such oocytes are fertilized, the newborn produced from them may be with some abnormalities like Down syndrome. Dear listeners, we are from Leader IS and Yashas Institute, Navi Mumbai. Myself, Professor Suhas Sargar. These are the self-explanatory video for the self-study of a student. Do you know the chromosome number in germ cell producing the gamete are diploid, that is 2n. It includes the 22 pairs of autosome and one pair of sex chromosome, that is 44 plus XX or 44 plus XY. These germ cells divide by meiosis. Due to these gametes contain only haploid number of chromosomes, that is 22 plus X or 22 plus Y. Two types of the sperm are produced as 22 plus X or 22 plus Y, whereas the oocytes are produced of only one type of the 22 plus X. Both sperm and oocyte are produced by meiosis. In case of sperm, process of meiotic division is completed before the sperm leave the male reproductive tract. However, in case of oocyte, the process of meiotic division completes after ovulation during fertilization in oviduct. Development and birth. The zygote formed after fertilization in the oviduct undergoes a repeated mitotic division and embryo is formed. Meanwhile, it is pushed towards uterus. Once it reaches the uterus, it is implanted and further development occurs after implantation. An organ called as a placenta is a form for supply of the food material during the growth in uterus. Embryonic development is a complete and approximately within 9 months from after the fertilization, the growth of an embryo. In box, always remember, the man is totally responsible whether the couple will have a boy or a girl child. During zygote formation, the man contributes either X or Y chromosome to the next generation, but the females transfer only X sex chromosome to the next generation. At the time of fertilization, if the X chromosome comes from male, the child will be a girl, and if the Y chromosome, then the child will be a boy. Thinking of this, it is in a right to consider the mother responsible for girl child. We all must take efforts to stop the female ferticide. Box close. Can you tell which hormone is responsible released from pituitary of the mother once the fetal development is complete? under the effect of that hormone, which organ of the female reproductive system start to contract, and thereby the birth process, that is parturition, is facilitated. Question. Next topic is a menstrual cycle. Female reproductive system undergoes some changes at puberty, and those changes repeat at the interval of every 28 to 30 days. These repetitive changes are called as a menstrual cycle. Menstrual cycle is a natural process controlled by four hormones. Those four hormones are follicle stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone, estrogen and progesterone. One of the several follicles in the ovary start to develop along with the oocyte present in it. Under the effect of follicle stimulating hormone, these developing follicles secrete estrogen. Endometrium and the uterus starts to develop during first cycle or regenerate during subsequent cycle. Under the effect of estrogen, meanwhile, developing follicle completes its development. It bursts under the effect of luteinizing hormone and oocyte is released. This is called as ovulation. Remaining tissue of the burst follicle forms the corpus luteum. Corpus luteum start to secrete progesterone. Endometrial glands secrete their secretion under the effect of progesterone. Such endometrium is ready for implantation of the embryo. See the pictures of menstrual cycle. If the oocyte is fertilized within 24 hours, corpus luteum becomes inactive and transformed into corpus albicans. Due to this, the secretion of estrogen and progesterone stop completely. Endometrium start to degenerate in absence of these two hormones. Tissue of degenerating endometrium and unfertilized ovum are discarded out through vagina. This is accompanied with a continuous bleeding. Bleeding continues approximately for 5 days, and this is called the menstruation. Unless the oocyte is fertilized and embryo is implanted, this process is repeated every month. If the embryo is implanted, repetition of this cycle is temporarily stopped till the parturition, and thereafter the period of the breastfeeding. Menstrual cycle is a natural process, and women experience the severe pain during this period. Severe weakness is felt due to heavy bleeding. There is a higher possibility of infections during the this overall period. Due to all such reasons, there is a need of rest along with the special personal hygiene, reproduction, and the modern technology. Many couples cannot have the children due to various reasons. In case of women, irregularity in the menstrual cycle, difficulties in the oocyte reproduction, obstacles in the oviduct, difficulties in implantation in uterus, and many other reasons are responsible for this. Absence of the sperm in the semen, slow movement of the sperm, anomalies in the sperm are the reason in case of males. But now, with the help of the advanced medical techniques like IVF, surrogacy, sperm bank, and a childless couple can have a child. In vitro fertilization. In this technique, the fertilization is brought about in the test tube, and the embryo is implanted in the uterus of the woman at appropriate time. IVF technique is used for having a child in case of those childless couple who have problems like less sperm count, obstacle in oviduct, etc. Surrogacy. Some women have a problems in implantation of embryo in uterus. Such women can take the help of the modern remedial techniques called as a surrogacy. In this technique, oocyte is collected from the ovary of the woman having problem in implantation in uterus. That is, oocyte is fertilized in a test tube with the help of the sperm collected from her husband. The embryo formed from such fertilization is implanted in the uterus of some other woman having normal uterus. Such woman in whose uterus the embryo is implanted is called as a surrogate mother. See the pictures of surrogacy. Sperm bank or the semen bank. There are the various problems in sperm production as mentioned above. In case of many men, so as to have the children. In case of such couple, new concept of sperm bank have been introduced. This concept is similar to the blood bank. Semen ejaculated by the desired man is collected after their thorough physical and medical checkup and stored in the sperm bank. As per the wish of the needful couple, oocyte of the woman of the concerned couple is fertilized by the IVF technique using the semen from the sperm bank. Resultant embryo is implanted in the uterus of the same woman. Name of the semen donor. It is a strictly kept secret as per the law. Twins. Two embryos develop simultaneously in the same uterus, and thus the two offspring are delivered simultaneously. Such offspring are called as a twins. Many couples have twins. There are the two main types of twins as monozygotic twins and dizygotic twins. See the pictures of twin girls age 18 months. Such offspring are called as a twin. Many couples have twins. There are the two main types of the twins, monozygotic twins and dizygotic twins. Monozygotic twins are formed from single embryo during early period of embryonic development. Within 8 days of zygote formation, cells of that embryo divide into two groups. First, those two groups develop as two separate embryos, and thus the monozygotic twins are formed. Such twins are genetically exactly similar to each other. Due to this, such twins are exactly similar to that their appearance, and their gender is also same. That is, both will be either boys or girls. In case of monozygotic twin, if the embryonic cells are divided into two groups 8 days after zygotic formation, there is a high possibility of formation of conjoined twins, that is, Siamese twins. Such twins are born with some parts of the body joined to each other. Some organs are common in such twins. Occasionally, the two oocytes are released from ovary of the woman, and both oocytes are fertilized by two separate sperm, and thus two zygotes are formed. Two embryos are formed from those two zygotes, and both of these embryos are separately implanted in the uterus, and thus zygotes and diazygote twins are delivered after complete development. Such twins are genetically different, and many of the same of the different by gender. You may have read that sometimes a woman may deliver more than two children or the offspring at a time. Collect more information from internet about the reason for such incidences. Box closed. Reproductive health. A person's state of being physical, mental, social strongness is called as a health. In our country, there seems to be lack of awareness regarding reproductive health due to various reasons like social custom, tradition, illiteracy, shyness, etc. Especially there seems to be indifference towards the reproductive health of women. Occurrence of the menstrual cycle is related with the reproductive and overall health of the woman. Nowadays, the women are working at par with them. Due to this, they have to stay outdoors for whole day. Bleeding occurs during menstrual cycle. Due to this, the private organ, that is genitals, need to be maintained clean time to time. Otherwise, the problem regarding the reproductive health may arise. Some problems regarding reproductive health may arise in men too. It is essential to maintain the cleanliness of their genitals. Among the various sexual diseases, syphilis, gonorrhea occur on a large scale. Both of these diseases are caused by bacteria. Occurrence of the chancre, that is patches, on various parts of the body, including genital, rash, fever, inflammation of joints, alopecia, etc., are the symptoms of syphilis. Painful and the burning sensation during urination. Oozing of the pus there through penis and vagina, inflation of the urinary tract, thus throat, anus, eyes, etc., are the symptoms of gonorrhea. So, these are the thanks for listening. We are from Leader IS and Yashas Tutorial, Navi Mumbai. Myself, Professor Suhas Sargar. These are the self explanatory audio video books for the self study of a student. Thanks for listening.